that feel? How satisfying was that as a win?
Yeah, it was a good win. Feel pretty happy about it. Even wearing a crop top. I'm really happy. I don't pull those out often. So.
Feeling through your navel?
No, it's covered up. Yeah, it's the high-waisted tights look. No, yeah, it was definitely a match that I look forward to. When the draw came out, obviously I had to get there first, and so did she. But yeah, I thought it was, as usual, as expected, a physical match. Didn't have to be in some ways, but felt like even in the longer rallies, I did a great job of winning those. Put a lot of pressure on her, and those are the rallies that I think many years ago that she used to win. I thought I did a great job of getting a higher percentage of wins on those.
We got down 4-1 in the first set. Can you sort of take us through your mindset in that next game, especially that next game, not dropping a point on serve? It seemed like early on a pretty pivotal moment in the match.
Yeah, I don't know, in my mind it didn't feel like 1-4. I challenged her from the very beginning. I had 3 break points in the first game, although I didn't take them. I felt like I was still putting the pressure on. It was one break. I had a sloppy service game, and of course 1-4 is a challenging score to come back from, but I didn't, while I was there, I didn't think of it like that.
She'd made quite a few comments about you since your last meeting, once you came back from your ban, etc. Did it add a kind of extra level of satisfaction, like you really wanted to go out and beat her today?
I just really like winning, and I'm just really happy and proud with the way I competed today, and I'm into the 4th round, so that's all that matters.
Maria, you've been returning very, very well in this tournament, both through your first 2 matches and then today, especially towards the end, kind of amping up. I know that's an aspect of your game maybe last year that wasn't as consistent. Mm-hmm. What do you chalk it up to in terms of the improvement this year so far?
Practice, lots of practice, and I've certainly had a lot of months of those, but it's always different bringing that practice into match play. I think that's the one thing that was tough for me to get back, the hand-eye coordination after not playing for a long time, is the return, just the anticipation. Those are the types of things that I think you lose being away from the game. I thought I started returning better in the middle of last year, but still not where I want it to be. But yeah, I mean, despite not having a lot of matches coming into this season, that certainly worked for me, but I still have to improve it.
Maria, watching this match, it felt like it easily could have been a semifinal or a final. The level was very high. How did it feel to you on the court?
Yeah, I felt very much in the moment. I felt present, and I, sometimes, as I said, I was anticipating the match, and I wanted that match to happen, and these are really the types of matchups that I haven't really had, where I can just really challenge myself, and whether it was a bad result or an easy 2-set loss, but to be in the grind of things and to really have to figure out a way to be on top is what I missed. I didn't really get many of those chances. I mean, I think maybe like Halep a year and a half ago at the U.S. Open was where I was challenged like that, or I can think of maybe 1 or 2 other matches, and I think you learn a lot, and you really, when you put yourself in those positions and you get through, those are great victories.
Maria, you had a lot of winners with your forehand, but right away, in many of the points you put her in a defensive position right away with your backhand. So how important is, for you when you play well to have, those shots, especially the backhand, to set up points, push her, off the courts a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, look, getting into long rallies with her is not ideal, because I think that's where she lives off of that type of tennis. She wants you to play long rallies. She'll stand far behind the baseline, and then when she's confident, she'll move in. So I want to be the one that's forcing the mistakes, and I'm not, in a match like that against a player that moves well, I'm not necessarily expecting to hit winners left and right, even though that would be nice. Free points are, they feel good, but that's not what you have to expect. You have to expect to be in those longer rallies, but it's not how I'm going to win the match because it's not my game.
Maria, you've obviously been looking for matches, but what does it feel like to come up so early against a fellow top player and have to kind of put that aside and bring your level up to the top? You understand?
I mean, it's the position that I'm in, and as I said before, when you're ranked 31 or 30 or whatever I am, those are the types of matches that I'm going to get in the third round of a Grand Slam. And even when I wasn't seeded, facing Halep, who I think was number 2, and I've had tough challenges in the beginning of slams that I've had to get through, and it's not unexpected. It's not just for me, but it's for everyone that it's in that position. I have to earn my way, but then it's like, what is an easier draw? There's really no such thing. I know this room and this environment in this room is result oriented, but behind that are stories and that are much deeper than headlines, and I respect storylines because that's what sells, and I understand that business part of it, but I think in the aspect of depth of the sport, there's a lot more than just winning and losing.
Amanda Anisimova was there earlier saying she's been always looking up to you while growing up and starting this career journey. As you're sharing agents, I'm just wondering if you crossed paths with her at all, if you've ever chatted or watched her play, and what do you think?
We haven't crossed paths too often, apart from Max's wedding at the end of last year, which we sat down at the same table of. But it was a short wedding, so we got out of there pretty early. Second time around, just get it done, So, I even got out on the dance floor. I think she was a little shy, but I respect her a lot because I think she's young and has a great game. I mean, she's already proving what she can do, and I think she has a really bright future ahead of her, and Max has obviously been behind her for many years, ever since she was a junior.
Maria, you said the other day that your preferred bedtime is 10:30, so if that's your body clock, how do you get your body to perform at its peak if you're playing matches after midnight?
You don't. I mean, there's no way to train that, I don't think. And if you ask any player that goes into this tournament how many times they've trained after midnight, I don't. Unless you're jet lagged or just crazy. But you don't train for that. That's kind of like a survival thing, right? Like you just have to get it done. It's a Grand Slam, and that's unfortunate. You're speaking about the match last night? Yeah. It
just feels like at some point it's professional athletes that's not a great stage for performing well.
Obviously, the reason why I know because I played a late one, not as late, but we had asked about a possible court change, and that was from the beginning a no because of the ticket sales. So there's a business component which we have to understand, but I think from a tournament perspective, I think there needs to be flexibility because no one is interested in seeing two top-notch athletes going out on the court after midnight.
Last 2 questions, Ben.
Maria, talking about...
Don't be shy.
Maria, talking about your on-off routine.
My what routine?
Your routine when you're on the court and off the court. Are you a little bit more easier with yourself? Like, we saw your Instagram with a croissant. I think you were eating.
I love croissants.
Yeah.
Who doesn't love croissants?
No, I know, but does that mean...
You sound like you like a croissant.
I do, actually.
Okay, you see? I'm with you.
Do you know yourself better that you can, on the off days, I wouldn't say indulge?
Let me tell you, I'm
croissant?
not eating croissants on my off days.
Okay. That's what I wanted to know.
Instagram can be a big fat lie sometimes. No, that's not partially true. No, I think I love exploring the city, and I had a day off last week, so I went to a great little bakery. Had great croissants. I highly recommend it. It's called Lune.
Okay, the last question.
You've reached the very pinnacle of the sport and won multiple Grand Slams. What motivates you to win another major?
I've spoken about motivation a few times, but I think at the core of it, the feeling of getting better and improving. I know I always think that your work in any specific subject, but like for me it's in sport, your efforts will always rise to the surface at some point in your life, and it's like always been true in my career and in my life in general, and even maybe it doesn't come at the time that you wanted to and as soon as you wanted to, but when you put in the effort and you do it with great perspective, it will always come out.